Hello, everybody. Good night. It's Friday night. And I know that people might be out and about or shopping or just relaxing with maybe a glass of wine. So today, we are going to keep it tight. By tight, I mean the time. Okay? So today, good night. My name is Miranda Fergus once again, and this is the fourth night and the fourth online session of our volume one of our online workshops to support um, parents, teachers, anyone that is working with a child of primary school age, as well as any struggling readers at all in developing various subject areas and to be able to help them maximize their full potential. Tonight, it's composition, building those composition skills. And like every other night, I'm going to give you 5 tips on how you can help those composition skills to improve. I'm just setting up my notes that I can see them. But what you do need to know is that language is integrated and married. So therefore, all of the other activities in the previous lives, and if this is your first time, this is the first live that you're watching, then make sure to go back and watch the other lives. All the other suggestions are useful, and they will be able to the child build their vocabulary skills, their comprehension skills, their composition skills will improve, their reasoning skills. The more they read, the more the better their writing will get. So composition again, or writing, essay writing at the secondary school level, that's another big component of literacy and life, because when you think about it, you have to do some measure of writing, whether it be writing a letter, a job, an application letter for a job. Maybe you're a journalist and you have to write an article. Maybe you want to make a Facebook post and you want to comment on something that is out there and you want your points to be clear and you don't want any of your points to be missed. That is a type of writing as well. Maybe you want to drag somebody through the filth. Maybe you want to read them in such a way that your class is maintained, but your point is hitting sharp. All of those are composition skills. So I'm going to give you 5 tips to work with your children or child to help them improve those composition tips. So let me do a little housekeeping. I appreciate so much the emails that I have been getting requesting. So like we got some emails requesting the free book, soon to be book on baking words on a vocabulary activity. Also, some persons were asking me about if there's a cost to the Google Classrooms that I have mentioned in each live. No, please. There's no cost. The Google Classroom, the only cost is that you need to add the code, which I've given in all the other lives. Add the code, and if you can't remember the code or you don't want to go to the other lives, send me an email at youngstampyproductions.com. Or if after this live is published on YouTube and you say, I want the class code for the family support group, I'm going to type it in the live in the comment section. I'm going to go back and type that. There was a lady, I think her name was Mary. She asked me, I'm going to go back and put the code for her. So just to go over briefly how you join a Google class, what you do is at the top right corner when you have your email, usually the symbol for your email is in a little circle and is in the top right corner. If you're in your inbox, beside that there's a little square made of smaller dots. It's made of 9 dots. If you look at the top right corner of your email address, if you click on that, you are going to bring down another menu box, and it has all of the apps that are available to you. So for example, that's where you would find Google Drive, where you store stuff. That's where you would find YouTube, because that's like once you have a Gmail address, you have a YouTube account. So that's where if you want to subscribe to pages like this and any other useful pages, you would have to make sure that your YouTube account is on is active and is open and it's not just blank. And then if you scroll down, you will also see classroom. Versus that, you can also when you click on classroom and you go into the classroom space, you will see again in the top right corner, you will see a plus sign. When you hit that plus sign, it's going to come down and ask you whether you want to join the class or create a class. You want to join the class and you type in the code that I have shared in all the other lives. Once you type in that code, you will be hi, good night, Kanisha. Is this Kanisha that went to Good Shepherd? But you're not little anymore. Sorry. You add that code that I have been given in all the other lives, and you will be joined to the family support classroom. Once you go into the family support classroom, you will find the book Baking Words. Within the book Baking Words, there's also a page, and I'm going to try to put that on the stream in that classroom. There's a page that gives you all the other classroom codes. So if you're still having some problems, that's no problem. Send an email with the email that you want to join, that you want to be added to the classroom with, and say, well, add me to the family support classroom. Send it to youngstampyproductions@gmail.com. There is, let me repeat again, there is no cost for the Google Classroom. So to be completely transparent, there will be some face-to-face workshops coming up soon. There will be a cost for those workshops because there will be a cost to use the space, okay? And to get materials and so on. But the online, these workshops that are on YouTube, the Google Classroom, the Google Classroom spaces with the resources that I put in there, there's no cost to those. And then of course, there's also Facebook. Good night, Shaniqua. Welcome. We're going to keep it tight because it's Friday night and someone might need to go and drink a small glass of wine. Might be anyone. Okay? So, composition writing. Why is composition writing important? I'm going to say it. I think it doesn't need to be said, but I'm still going to say it. So, when at the primary school level, we are supposed to be building the concept of the structure of how to write composition. I have found that when children get to secondary school, this is not some teachers go with the assumption that they already understand how to form at least a basic composition. And sometimes you may hear me in this chat using composition and essay as if interchangeably, as if it's the same thing. Because to me, an essay is a higher level, is what we call a composition at a higher level. But to me, it's one and the same. Okay? So when we get to secondary school, when the students get to secondary school, they have several subjects to do and they have essays to write. So if they have these essays to write and they do not understand the structure of a composition and how to organize certain things, well, we know that we are setting them into a place of frustration. Now, for mathematics, for example, you might say, oh, mathematics, it's for so I don't have to do composition. There are SBAs now that are done for mathematics. And there is some measure, you might not do a full essay, but there's some measure of explanation that you have to do. And you know what? Essay explanation, at the root of it, you need those composition skills. So I'm going to give you a framework that I use when I'm working with children. I'm going to give you a basic framework. So there's no way that in the 15 to 20 minutes that I intend to stick to tonight, I'm going to stick to it. Will I be able to give you everything that you need? However, some other services will be coming your way. So stay tuned, especially to the Facebook page. And if you send me an email, that means I have your email. And when I'm sending out information, I will send out to all the emails that I have collected. Okay? So if you want to stay informed about the services that will be coming up soon, very soon, send an email or follow the Facebook page. That's where you're going to see them for sure. Okay? So housekeeping. Just to go over, there's no cost to the Google Classrooms. The Google Classroom spaces are there. I have loaded resources already, and I will continue to load resources for parents. There's the Google Classrooms for the parents, and then there's the Google Classrooms for the students. Now, in the Google Classrooms for the students, what I do is that I curate games and activities. I curate and create. I collect, curate, and create games and activities that are for specific ages, and I'm going to put those in those Google Classrooms for them to for you to make use of. So there might be their puzzles, their different activities for different things. Hi, good night to Zari's mommy. There are different activities that are going to be in those classrooms that they can go. You can let the children go into those student Google Classrooms and make use of them at any time. The parent Google Classroom, which is the family support classroom, what I'm going to be doing is putting resources that you can either print or read or make use of in different areas. So right now there are literacy areas. Next session probably we'll be doing some other subjects, so I probably will do some numeracy and so on, and then I will put resources in there. So it makes sense for you to add your email to the family support classroom and then add the child's email and not the school email, because it will not allow you to add it to a classroom that's outside of the G Suite for the ministry. So you will have to create a new email for your child that's in Barbados or I'm not sure how, if you are watching from another country, if there are any restrictions on the child's email. So you should have, if not, you add your child to the email according to the age group of your choice. And the age groups that are there are 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, and 8 to 9. And in Barbados, that's the nursery to the class 2 age. So there are resources, and there are mathematics resources in those classrooms as well. So there's literacy as well as mathematics, and then there's some general knowledge. So those, as I said, there's no cost to those. Feel free to join your child to the classroom. And if you are a parent of the school that I am currently assigned at, some of the resources that are already in the classrooms that I have, the reading classrooms that I have with my school, are also in there. So you can use what you have already in the reading classrooms for the school, or you can also join the ones under Young Stampede. So the difference would be that the ones under Young Stampede will have mathematics. So we're moving on. Okay? So 5 things. That's enough housekeeping. We're moving on. 5 things, and I want 2 things. How did they get so far? Okay? 2 things. I want to what lyric says. You can't style me. So I want to do some styling right now. If you allow me to do some styling, I will sing for you, but I don't want you guys to log off. Right? I want to style you though. I want to style you a little bit. So remember, I have been teaching for 20 years. And in teaching, I have always had an interest in reading. And I have always been interested in motivating the children's interest in reading, because at the end of the day, if they're not motivated, they're not going to want to do it. So for me, that is a very, very important component. And thus, because I think outside of the box, I have created over the years several events that have been driven by literacy. My first event was something called Reading Under the Stars. No, one was Read for Life. It's not connected to the program that currently goes on. Hi, Sam. That was at Good Shepherd Primary. I was there for a wonderful 9 years under a boss principal, Ms. Lorna Bino. She's retired now, but if I were to become a principal, she would be my example of where I would want to be, for sure. So I did that, Reading Under the Stars. Then I was transferred. When Ms. Bino retired, and then someone else came, and then eventually I was transferred, and I was transferred to Eden Lodge Primary, and there it was my first big school, and I was like, big school, big things, huh? And I created a literacy festival. So in this literacy festival, I spoke to you in another live about visual literacy, right? So I'm going to go quickly because I don't understand how the time goes so quickly. So I want to style a design that came from a student at Ada Lodge. Now, as far as I know, let me make sure. Yes, her name is Zanaya Roach. She was in class 2 when she made this design, and we had a competition, and it was a t-shirt design competition, and there was a competition, and she entered, and this was her winning design, and it was placed on t-shirts. So children at Independence Time, a whole set of children had on Zanaya's design. So that is visual literacy. That is building the foundations. I believe that she's at Harrison College. I think, yeah, she's there. She might be a fifth form or so now. And we also, it was 3 days. We had to dress up as the children had the opportunity to dress up as characters. And what we did, the second year that I did it, the second year that I was at this school, and the second year that I did it, I actually supported the construction of a reading park at Eden Lodge. I have no idea what became of it because I don't live in the area, so I wasn't able to go back and see what it is. If you're an Eden Lodge parent, please tell me if the reading part was maintained. That was on the above side where the tires and stuff were painted and stuff were planted. I hope it was. I don't know if it wasn't. So then it was moved to Arthur Smith, and I tried the Literacy Festival again, and it was like the response was not as powerful, and it was. So then I started to think again, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I came up with doing the first ever Barbadian model search, primary school model search, sorry, not Barbadian model search, primary school model search. And it was a hill to climb. So it was a journey in me producing the show. I got amazing support from my daughter who saw me struggling and came on as co-director. But at the end, there are 6 young ladies, and I'm gonna wrap this particular journal. I'm gonna tell you why. So this particular journal, and journals are the first idea. It's not idea. Let your children journal. Now I'm gonna show you this journal. This journal is pretty fancy. Okay, I'm gonna try to get some into some bookstores. So sorry. But you don't have to use this journal. That's the truth. You can get exercise book or drawing book with smaller children and journal. So if you are a hairdresser or you go to hairdresser school, you get better at hairdressing by doing it, correct? If you are, I see a parent here that does some food. She always posting food on her status and tempting Miss Fergus, but I rebuke her and this fat that has this weight that has been gained back in COVID. So I close my eyes on those status, okay? But you can surely check her out. All right? Can't remember T's Dining, I think it is. So as she's learning to get better at her meals and her cooking and her prep, she has to do it more. The more she not just doing the same thing the same way, but the more practice she gets at preparing foods, the better she would get. It's the same thing for composition writing. You can't expect your child to get better at composition writing. This is teacher, this is parent, by writing one thing a week or one time. So what journal allows your child to do is what I would call free writing. So this writing is not bound by writing to a particular topic. What you can do is require them to write daily. Let them write about whatever they want to write about. Or at first, you may have to guide them and suggest what they write about. Okay? But journaling gives them the opportunity to practice their craft of writing. And it is not bound by, okay, you're writing this composition for a mark. It is focusing on getting them to produce content. And you start by letting them write about real life occurrences. And you encourage them by using those vocabulary development ideas. So as they are exposed to more vocabulary, then their journal writing will improve. So what I'm going to show you that this journal was designed by somebody who is aware of the importance of literacy, development, and journaling. It was designed by me. I just style it right now. It was designed by me. Okay? So at the back of these journals are a table, not the times table. They're tables with words. let me try to take one closer to the. Let me find the camera. I want to. They're a table of words and what can help a way to help children improve their writing is to show them alternative words that they can use. So, for example, there's a pool of words under large. So there's large, there's big, colossal, gigantic, enormous, huge, massive, substantial, tremendous. So if they are doing writing, what you can do is let them refer to the back of. This is a unique design. This is my design. If you want in a journal, you send a message, and you're in Barbados. You send a message to Young Stampy. They're $5. Let me do hand modeling. And I could make that arrangement for you to get there 6 different characters. I don't have enough time to tell you about these characters, but if you have Instagram, follow up comics. That's a whole other ball game. But we are rolling, okay? So allow them to journal. So why I like this particular journal, why I designed this journal, is to have the support words at the back. On the inside, you can meet some of this. There's 6 beautiful, I call them my girls. Right. So why I like this is that I designed it specifically for writing. There's a blank page and there's blank pages. I'll tell you why that blank page is useful. You can help them they can either draw a picture, and this is at any age, please. This is at any age. They can either draw a picture on that blank page. They can draw a graphic organizer or a web to help plan their story. So if your child really has problems organizing their work, a web will help them. But you cannot just tell them do a web. There are steps that you go through that I can't go through in this time. Another time, or in the face-to-face session, in a physical session, I will go through steps on how you can go through, because you have to teach children how to brainstorm, then to take from the brainstorming how to organize. There are different strategies. I'm going to share with you one that I use that I find to be useful. And then with this particular journal, but remember I told you don't have to use this journal. I'm just styling you with this one. So this is Hurricane Girl, and I'm prepping this because the creator of Hurricane Girl, she created this when she was in class 2. Okay, so she created this character when she was 9 years old. This is an original character. All right, this was part of the show, and she just did the Barbados Secondary School. I call secondary school entrance examinations, commonly known as common entrance in Barbados, and she's off to St. Michael's. So I just rapping her because I just want bigger Alex, and congratulations to her on to her new life. I have to show the winner. The winner is Azaria Drates Thomas. She's heading to second form at Dayton Griffith. She created, because it was a whole show, they had to model clothes, they had to create, they had to wear these costumes and so on. They said if you want to see more about that, go to Up Comics on Instagram. Okay, I'm President and Pioneers. I just styling tonight. Tonight is Friday, styling time. So this was the winner, and then one other that I could find. I couldn't find the others. There are 3 others, but I couldn't find the others. I found her. This is her name is Diamond Anthony. She's at Harrison College as well. I said somebody else was at Harrison College, and she created Lightning Star. So Lightning Star was a superhero as well, right? But besides those journal, the actual act of journaling is important in helping children to become better at writing because they're writing more. And what you can do is you can go online and find a copy of words, these alternative words, right? You know what? I'll put a copy in the classroom. That's no problem. I have you. I have your back. I am on you're on their team and I'm on yours. So I'll put a copy of a chart or a picture of some alternative words that you can use. I'll put those in the classroom. Just have to remember and write it down. So journaling, that's one. Reading. Reading and writing are sisters. The more your child reads, the more they're exposed to different writing styles, the more they're exposed to ways that stories are structured, the better their writing gets. So what you might find, like for me, I'll give an example, a little story of myself, then I'll move on, is I'm gonna be honest, I still love Enid Blyton. I loved Enid Blyton as a child. I was an avid reader. You did not have to motivate me to read, and that is the truth, right? I was an avid reader. I would read a book in a night. Every child is not like that, and I want you to remember that. But I loved Enid Blyton. I loved Famous Five, Secret Seven, the Bobbsey Twins, the Faraway Tree. I The thought of eating scones for tea was like my imagination couldn't conceptualize how wonderful scones probably didn't taste it. When I tasted the actual scone, it wasn't impressive. But as a child, I consumed Enid Blyton books. So when my composition writing, I tended to like kind of scaffold myself and mirror my writing style on those books that I like to write. Reading supports composition writing development, and essay writing development. So what you have to do is let them read. Now, if your child is a struggling reader, read to them more, read to them. Remember, I told you about that read aloud yesterday and how it helps build comprehension skills. Well, to build the comprehension skills is going to build the writing skills too, because they're going to start actively until you get them to get better at the reading. The is going to still help support their writing development as well in terms of even coming up with ideas. So journal writing, reading, and then 3. So for young children, like for example, when I get an infant, say, and I'm teaching composition writing, the first thing that I would start to do is that I start with the myself composition. Now, myself composition is a narrative composition or expository composition where you explain steps. Okay? If they understand how a myself composition is written, they can write my friend, my teacher, my mommy, my daddy, my dog. They can write composition. So myself composition, your organization is that you describe specific areas. So for myself, you would describe what you look like, you would describe your family, you might describe your school, you would describe likes and dislikes, but they're all focused on you. So that's on myself. My teacher, my friend composition, your friend, where your friend lives, where what your friend looks like, your friend's interests. You might decide to talk about your friends, how you and your friend is how you and your friend are connected. Similar structure. So what we will call that, what one way we could do is something called a closed passage. So suppose you want to help your child write a composition. If you are going to do it, do not try to write a composition, a UE level composition for your child to go over. So the one activity that you can do is y'all can go through the composition together. Then you can give them again with certain words removed, and then they complete the words. That's just an activity that you can do to get them accustomed to structure. Now, if you yourself cannot write a good composition, then don't do it. I will try to see if there are any online. If not, I will create some and put them in the parent resource classroom that you might be able to use for myself, my friend, and so on, that they can take out and complete. So you're reading and completing those passages. So that is a skill building activity that you can do. So that's one skill building activity that you can do. So journals, read every day for at least 15 minutes. If they can read, let them read to you, and then you read to them. There's an app that on my phone at the moment I let my niece read. It's called a Read Along app. I'm not sure if it's still free, but I find it, I really, really like it. It is wonderful in terms of I'm going over time. I gotta get tighter. It's wonderful, and so you can go on Google App Store and look for the Read Along app. It's wonderful in terms of if she messes up a little on a word, it asks her to repeat it. It asks her to repeat it. If and then it's going up in levels all the time, and it asks her to read for 10 minutes every day. Okay, so closed stories can help, and you can even type in closed stories on closed passages on in searches and see what you get. Then understanding text features. Understanding text features is basically that all stories are either fiction or non-fiction. There are text features for fiction stories. There's text features for non-fiction stories. Now, in the Barbadian context, a lot of teachers don't go in depth in this. We focus mainly on writing a composition for an exam. But when the children go on in secondary school, then they are struggling because they can only write one type of story. And then by the reverse of that is that if they have to interpret a newspaper article or something like that, they have problems because they don't understand the features of writing. So, for example, in a newspaper, you expect a headline. In a fiction story, you expect characters. You expect a plot. A plot will not necessarily be in a newspaper unless it's a fiction, a newspaper account. Then we have to look at different text features of what is happening now in modern times. So understanding again, I'm going to look for two basic charts, resource pictures, and put them into the classroom. I'm going to see if there are videos that are clear or helping children to understand the difference between text features, and I'm going to put those in the parent resource classroom. So if you get children to understand the differences in what different a fiction story and a non-fiction story would look like, then if they're choosing a topic, they can decide the angle that they are going. So if it's going to be a fiction story, they can understand, well, okay, I need my characters. So for example, a lot of people, teachers included, encourage children to avoid the picture composition. Okay? But the picture composition, if you are writing it and you understand that you say you want to write a fiction story and you determine, all right, these characters have these names and you're doing this in your plan before. This is what happens. This is the problem. This is the solution. They have a plan there and then they write out the story. And it can be done in 15 minutes. What it can't be done is that this week you learn to the tools and next week you're able to get it done. It takes time to get it done. It takes time to be able to organize. So what I'm going to tell you is that these skills do not disappear as they go to secondary school. These skills are important in secondary school. So if you are a secondary school, a parent of a child at secondary school, understanding text features still is useful for them. Then I'm going to go through now understanding the structure of composition. And I'm going to say just basic. Something as simple as understanding that a composition has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Remember, we talked about the story mapping. Remember, I told you that the story mapping can help connect to composition writing. So you will be doing, for comprehension purposes, you'll be doing story mapping. But then you're going to take that knowledge, that practice that they have gotten by doing story mapping, and you're going to tell them, well, okay, the reverse of that is that any composition you write has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So what I usually recommend for primary school children is the big five. So the big five is 1 paragraph to introduce, 2 paragraphs for the body. That's 3. No, 3 paragraphs for the body. Sorry. That's 4. And then 1 paragraph to wrap up or conclude. So I kind of recommend that. So when you are doing a plan, you can do the plan. And so when you're doing the plan, you are knowing that you are going for 5 things. What you're going to use to introduce your topic, what is going to make up the body of your topic, the 3 paragraphs for the body of your topic, and then how you're going to conclude your topic. So the conclusion really wraps up everything in the others. Okay, so if the children are able to plan by using a graphic organizer, and they're able to plan their ideas and using the big 5 structure, and I call it the big 5. I don't know if that is anywhere else, but I call it the big 5. 1 in the beginning, the introduction, 3 in the middle, and 1 at the end. The big 5, I call it the big 5, not only because of that, but because I use the format of question words to motivate my thinking, motivate my brainstorming, and to organize my story. So what I would, so that, remember I told you yesterday again that those question words are very important. So when you understand what those question words are, you can motivate, generate ideas for your composition. So for example, if you are doing my school, I would ask questions. You would ask questions like, where's my school? What are some who questions that you can ask? What are some why questions that you can ask? Some when questions that you can ask. And you're going to organize school location. What is a school location is where? Okay? But in the basic younger children, you just want one sentence saying where. With all the children I know, you want them to describe the surroundings. So you can have more information coming out using that same Big Five format. And then to further the Big Five, when you are starting to write, I said with the minimum I want per paragraph is at least 5 sentences. And if you can't think of those 5 sentences, think of a question that you can ask about that topic, and then that is your sentence. So the Big Five is the Big Five program that I kind of use is more than just because the whole organization of introduction, body, and conclusion is not unique to me. It's not something I came up with. That's something that is done at the university level. So if you build that firm foundation with children of an introduction, body, and conclusion, when they move on to secondary school, they have the they have what they need to go forward, because in almost all other subjects, you have to do some sort of essay writing. So they will have the skill set they need to add upon and grow more information as their vocabulary goes. Then their sentence structure will improve, their content will improve, but they will have that formation. Now, I will be doing a children workshop this time for composition writing. So this will be for children. That is, as I said, that is also in planning. So stay tuned to these social media handles, Facebook more so, for announcing when the workshops will be launched. Facebook is your best bet. And when the flyers are launched, then a contact number will be on there, and you'll be able to access even more resources. Facebook, and if you add yourself to the parent Google Classroom, I will also inform there. So if there are not any questions, if there are any questions for me on composition writing, then you can post them there. Other than that, I'm going to review and we're going to wrap up, because I don't want to go over the 40. I already went over. My housekeeping was longer than I planned. Okay? But just to remind you, the Google Classrooms, there's no cost. You just need to get the code, and the codes are on Facebook. The codes, I'm going to try to see if in the comment section I can put some of the codes there, the family support code. And you just have to be able to have a Gmail address to access the Google Classroom, to be able to find the app to access the Google Classroom. So there's no cost to the Google Classroom. There's no cost to, but obviously there's no cost to the YouTube Lives. There's no cost to the resources on Facebook, because you're on their team. You are on their team, and I am on yours. Okay, so we are all supporting each other in helping the children all over the world, in Barbados and all over the world, to maximize their full potential. So I want to thank you very much, those of you that tuned in this week. And I want to thank you personally for sending the feedback and letting me know that the information that I shared with you was useful, because that's very important to me, because that's what I want to do. I want to be able to share the knowledge that I've gained from my studies in a way that is useful and broken down into small chunks that you can digest, so to speak, and that you can make use of in helping whatever children you're helping, whether you be a teacher, a parent, godparent, auntie, whatever, we are all on the same team together. So just to review, 5 ways you can support and help your child improve their composition writing. Journal. And remember, if you want a copy of one of these journals, just send me an email. But you don't have to use the journal. It's just that this one was specifically designed for writing. When I thought of it, I thought about writing and supporting writing development. Read, let your child read to your child, because reading, it provides a excellent example of how writing should look. Want to close stories. I'm going to put some of those into the classroom, but close stories basically taking a story, leaving out keywords, and then letting your child put them back in. That's an actual skill building activity. And there will be in some of the workbooks as well. Some of the school workbooks will have closed passages. Then understanding text features, understanding fiction versus nonfiction, and the different ways that different features of each category and structure of composition. And I suggested to you the big 5. Understand, you work with your child. Introduction, 2 and 3 in the middle for the body, and 1 at the end. So that's a start. That's not limiting your child, but that's a start. That's a good start for a primary school child. Work with at least 5. If your child wants to do more writing, let them, don't stop them. Let them do more writing, but that helps you with the organization. So for example, if they want to do more writing, it's the body that will expand. There's one introductory paragraph, 1 concluding paragraph, but the body is what will expand. Okay? So thank you once again for taking your time on this Friday night to be here with me. And if you are watching on the replay, thank you for tuning in. And I'm signing out. My name is Miranda Fergus. I'm an early childhood practitioner, a literacy advocate, and there's so much more of me, but that is what is important right now. I had a pause just now because it was like there's so much more to share. But those are the things that are important. But what is most important, I am a co-owner of Young Stampy Productions, and the focus of Young Stampy is purpose edutainment. And for these reading workshops, these online workshops, just remember you are on their team and I am on yours. So we're all in it together. So thanks once again. Good night, stay safe, and enjoy your weekend. Relax, go to the beach. I'm going to go to the beach tomorrow. And let's just have a great time. So bye-bye. You are most welcome, Sam. And thanks very much for all of you that tuned into the lives. Don't worry, I'm not next week because this was a little draining. But for sure, more lives will be coming. So definitely subscribe to this channel. Bye. Bye, everyone.